This is Game Set Match Kentucky, Episode 6, recorded October 4th, 2018, entitled, Dwain, You're Making Me Blush. Hey everybody, it's time for Episode 6 of Game Set Match Kentucky, where we talk about all things related to the Central Kentucky Tennis Series and maybe a whole lot more that you never asked for. This is October 4th, 2018. I'm Chris Godby, the chairman and one of the founders of the CKTS, where the lines are good and sandbagging is for golf. I'm here at the CKTS headquarters, as always, in Russell Springs, Kentucky, and back with me today, all the way from Somerset, Kentucky, is a member of the board of directors at the Lake Cumberland Tennis Association, as well as the tournament director of the CKTS Alton Blakley Lake Cumberland Open. Mr. Dwain Harris, thank you for being here.
Hey, Chris, how's it going, man?
Pretty good. I am just about to head into fall break after one more work day, and you are just about to end fall break, correct?
That is correct. Tomorrow will be Friday, the last day of fall break here. And but I was so exhausted from last weekend's CKTS tournament that we didn't even get to go on a big trip. So it was back to work as usual for me. But that's okay.
The tournament kicked off your weekend of fall break, and then you celebrated the completion of the tournament by heading straight back to work.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. So,
and you were in traveling last week, so you came home, ran a tournament, went right back to work. And how was everything at work?
Work is still there. It's okay.
Okay. So they didn't shut down while you were gone.
Glad to have it. We do get a day off tomorrow, taking the family down to Mammoth Cave, which I haven't been to since middle school. So I'm looking forward to visiting again, and my kids have never seen it. So we'll get a day of fun.
I was in elementary school in the early 80s, the last time and the only time that I've been to Mammoth Cave. We keep saying we're going to take our kids there, and we'll probably do that sometime soon. All I remember from that trip, I remember enjoying it. I remember it was a lot of walking. I remember it was really dark, and I was scared of cave crickets, and there was a restaurant underground. Well, today on this episode of Game Set Match Kentucky, we're going to actually look at the results from the Alton Blakley Lake Cumberland Open. We're going to look at a few announcements of things that are coming up in tennis in places in Kentucky. We'd like to thank our sponsor, LakeNet Media, for hosting Game Set Match Kentucky. And if you or your business would like to get in on sponsorship of this podcast, send an email to info@gamesetmatchky.com. So, Dwain, our tournament season has completed now with the completion, and it finally did complete, of the Alton Blakley Lake Cumberland Open.
So I'm sure it was a longer year for you than it was for us, because you have the job of helping with all the tournaments. And there were how many this year? How many tournaments are we up to?
Eight
tournaments. So congratulations to you on completing the year. And I'm sure it was another good year. If the rest of the tournaments went as well as ours did, I'm sure CKTS can count the year as a success. And in no small part, because of your efforts. So congratulations. And
well, I appreciate that.
And we appreciate what you did to help us with ours. And, it's just, it's awesome to be a part of a network as opposed to trying to put on a tournament independently. So we put the tournament together and kind of put it on the website, and automatically we know we're going to get a lot of good entries. So that's just the strength of that network. And it's awesome to be a part of that.
Well, we've sort of become like a little family, a lot of the same people playing in various tournaments all summer, and they get to know each other and end up maybe pitching in a little bit and helping out at somebody else's tournament. And you make a lot of friends, and it's just a good thing. It seems like just last week that we had the Bowling Green Open, but that was in early June. It's hard to believe. Every year, it's hard to believe how fast it goes by. And we we have a good time, and it won't be, before you know it, it'll be time for next season,
Right.
because the CKTS board of directors is going to meet in about a week and a half. We're going to start laying out the schedule for next year. Pencil it in. It won't be in stone, but it'll be penciled in, because people like to. Some people around the beginning of the year, they have to plan their vacations for that year, and they email us and they want to know when the tournaments are. So we've been trying in the last few years to get them announced earlier so that people can sort of plan around them. And like I said, it'll be time to get cooking for next year before you know it. Got an awards banquet coming up first Sunday in November, and that'll be a few weeks after our board meeting, and we're looking forward to that too. Hope you may join us this year. But let me ask you about the tournament. Overall, are you pleased with how it went?
Yes. We had some bad luck with the weather, and we had to postpone it for a week, as everybody knows. We had to make that judgment call where there was a really good chance of rain on the original weekend that it was scheduled. And so we canceled it or postponed it. And sure enough, it rained all weekend. But luckily, the following weekend, when we had the tournament, we had perfect weather. So we couldn't. We couldn't complain about the weather at all. So, most of the people who originally registered then re-registered for the weekend that we had it. There were some who were going on their fall break trips and who couldn't make it for one reason or another. So our turnout at the end of the day was less than it would have been. But we had a good, strong field. We had lots of competitive matches. So glad to see people come eastward. Most of the rest of the tour is sort of, you had Columbia this year, but then you've got Campbellsville, Glasgow, and westward. So it's a pretty good haul to come to Somerset. So we were really pleased to see how many people made the trip to Somerset. When a lot of people stayed overnight, and they had some really good matches, and we enjoyed having them there. And we're just glad to be a part of this tour, and glad to meet. As you say, it sort of becomes its own community, and we look forward to seeing some of the same people every year and sharing that good tournament experience in the Lake Cumberland area.
Exactly. I think that for a lot of people that are making a long trip from South Central Kentucky toward the west. I don't want to call it Western Kentucky. Bowling Green, we don't really consider Western Kentucky, even though Western Kentucky University is there. Geographically, I really wouldn't call it Western Kentucky. But to have some people come from there, and maybe we had some people from Elizabethtown. I know we did originally for your original weekend sign up, but they're doing it because they want to play, they want to compete. They want to finish something they started, perhaps. Maybe they have points on the line that they're fighting for a division championship, or maybe they just want to play with people that they don't normally see, and they're gonna meet up with some people from Somerset that maybe they haven't played before and just experience some different tennis.
Right. It's always interesting to me to see the different matchups, and we're always trying to recruit as many people as we can from Somerset and the Lake Cumberland area to play in our tournament, so that the rest of the tournament regulars from west of Somerset get a look at somebody new, and it's always interesting to see how those matchups pan out. And we had several of those this year, and I think it makes for a more fun tournament. It makes for a competitiveness to be able to play somebody new that you haven't seen before.
Yeah, and what's cool about it too is, if you like surprises, you may see your opponent listed when the draw comes out, and you've never heard of them. Somebody from Somerset, and then for them, somebody from Bowling Green. You never heard of each other. You don't have any common opponents, and you really don't know how you're going to fare against them. So just spin that racket handle and let's go, serve first and hold serve, and let's win that thing and make it on to the next round. So if you could have changed anything, what could have made this tournament even better? I mean, knowing that we have no control over the weather, so let's take that out of the equation. But anything else that could have made it better?
Probably, I would have promoted the tournament more so than I did east of Somerset, because of course we have the mountain tennis circuit, which has tournaments in as close as London and Corbin and Berea. So it sort of borders us to the east. And if I had really given it thought, I would have promoted the tournament among some of the MTC regulars to get even more of sort of new players into the mix, so that the CKTS regulars would have been able to see even more new faces. So that's what we'll do that next year.
Right. I'm surprised those people to the east, though, didn't hear all about it weeks ago on Game Set Match Kentucky. We're actually going to take a little bit of a look later at where our listeners are coming from. That's coming up a little bit later on. So more promotion. We could always use more promotion. So
Sure.
That's something to think about for next year. Let's go ahead and jump right into results from the Alton Blakley Lake Cumberland Open. And I'll start with boys 12 singles. Mm-hmm. And so Gary Zhang from Bowling Green actually defeats your stepson, Matthew Satterley, in a very close final. 6-4, 3-6, and then 11-9 in the super tiebreaker. So tell me a little bit about that match. Really quickly.
That was a tough match. And it was another one of those East-West matchups. They hadn't played each other before. And what can I say? It was just nip and tuck the whole way. I think Gary got off to a pretty big lead in the first set. It was maybe 4-0 or 4-1. Matt came back to make it more competitive, and then Matt was able to take the second set. But Gary took the tiebreaker. Gary probably won that match just mostly through his consistency. Matt hit some good shots, but Gary always sent the ball back over the net. And, of course, that's the key in tennis. And I would call Gary a scrappy player, very determined with really good hand-eye coordination. And he just played a great match. So congratulations to him.
And, if they continue to play, as I know they will, that's probably not the last time they'll meet up.
Yeah, hopefully they'll see each other many more times.
All right, give us boys 15 singles.
All right. So we had Dylan Dethridge versus James Chen in the finals of that, and Dylan won 7-5, 6-4. So there's a case where I'm pretty sure those guys have played each other dozens of times. I think they regularly play each other sort of recreationally, and they were able to meet in the finals, and looks like Dethridge outlasted him in what was a close match.
Yeah, another close final. That's two in a row. Let's see if boys 18 was quite as close. It doesn't look that way, and you may have to correct me if I'm wrong on pronunciation here, but a Somerset player named Amin Cottonboff defeated Jackson Martin, another Somerset player.
Right.
They were spread out, but they met in the finals, and Amin Cottonboff wins 6-2, 6-3.
Right. So that's interesting. That's sort of what will become sort of a crosstown rivalry. Amin plays for Somerset High School. He's a senior this year.
Okay.
Jackson is a freshman for Pulaski County High School. So they know each other well, and but this is the first time I can remember them meeting in a tournament like this. And Amin's experience was just a little bit too much for Jackson. Jackson's going to be an awesome player, but Amin was able to get the best of him. And I actually was playing in the court beside that match while it was going on, and in a doubles match. And my partner and some of the other players on the other team were observing and commenting what good players Amin and Jackson were. So they have a lot of potential. They both played a great tournament.
Yeah, and a bright future ahead, it looks like.
So girls 15, looks like we had Sarah Newton in the finals against Charity Nickel. and Sarah is from Scottsville. Charity is a local player. She plays for Somerset, and it looks like Sarah Newton got the best of her, 6'2", 6'2". But that was a good, competitive, strong field of 8 players, and there were lots of good matches, and congratulations to Sarah.
It may have had something to do with Charity's road to the final, because I'm looking at the scores right now. Her quarterfinal match, she won in split sets, 2-6, 6-2, 10-4 in the super tiebreak. Then in the semifinal, she wins another split set match. This is a long score. I got to read it because it's long. It's interesting. 6-7. That tiebreaker was 9-10. I'm sorry, 8-10. Then 7-5, she wins the second set. Then she wins the super tiebreaker 10-7.
You know, that's sort of how Charity plays, though. She really had a breakout year this year in regionals. And I can't remember what round she advanced to, but she surprised some of her opponents with her play and made it farther than I think maybe she expected. But every time the match was close, just like these scores were in the tournament. So if you're going to play Charity, you better be ready to be out there for a long time.
One of those players, huh?
Yeah.
Let's look at girls 18 singles. We have another split set final. I love all these split set matches. It means that they were matched up well. It was competitive, and people got their money's worth, which they didn't pay anything to watch it. But, hey, they still got their money's worth. Haley Woosley from Caneyville, Kentucky, defeats Taryn Deckard from Edmonton, Kentucky in the girls 18 singles final, 2-6, 6-4, and 10-2 in the super tiebreak.
Yep. I did not. Let's see. Was I able to see those matches? Yeah, I saw part of the final, and yeah, it was a good competitive match, and so that was a solid field of 4 players. And Haley, from what I saw, played great. She's a solid player. The only unfortunate thing about this draw is that we didn't have any local players to put into the mix. So most of the players came from west of Somerset, and they had probably seen each other before. But Haley got the best of the group this time, and congratulations to her.
Well, we'll chalk it up to fall break and travel. So, maybe next time, maybe next year it works out.
Yeah.
So men's B singles is next, and John Silas Newton, who will take the men's B singles division for the season, wins over a local guy there, Matthew Nykirk, 4-6, 6-2, another split set match, 4-6, 6-2, and 10-5 in the super tiebreaker.
Yeah, I know Matt well, and I saw him in a restaurant on Tuesday night, and I said, how you doing? He said, I'm still sore. So he had a busy weekend. He had a good weekend. He played great. He had some physically demanding matches. They were fun to watch. He's a Somerset High School alum as well. And when the LCTA got started a couple of years ago, he's an example of somebody who started coming out to play again because we had a lot of opportunities for people to play. And so he's sort of still getting back into shape, but he's a really good player. But when he ran into Mr. Newton, wow, what a match. They stayed out there forever on Sunday, and you could not tell who was winning just by, casually watching because it was back and forth the whole time. But Newton, a tall kid with a lot of reach, a lot of speed. At the end of the day, he just outlasted Matthew. But another example of one of those sort of east-west matchups, and looks like Scottsville got the best of Somerset at that time, and congratulations to John Silas Newton.
All right, we got a couple of Columbia fellas in men's C singles in the final.
So in the men's C, looks like we had a family rivalry with James Roberts versus Charles Roberts, and it looks like Charles got the best of his dad, 7-5, 6-4. Those guys are from Columbia, my hometown, and we're glad that they made the drive over to Somerset, and congratulations to Charles.
I talked to Charles a few days before the tournament, and I asked him, how does it go when you two play each other? And he said, well, this summer we've played each other twice, and he won one, and I won one. I said, all right, it's going to be a heck of a match then. Looks like maybe it was.
Yeah, it was.
In men's open singles, we have another local Somerset player taking that division, and by the scores, it looked like he walked through the draw pretty easily. So Kelly Horseman, who was a high school player when I was a young school teacher and a young tennis coach when he played for Lincoln County, it looks like he still got game, and he went through men's open singles and took the title over our probable division winner, Jackson Grover. Jackson is from Franklin, Kentucky, and Kelly won 6-2, 6-1.
Yep. Kelly had a good weekend. Kelly is he played for Georgetown College, and so he's been playing more and more the last couple of years, and he had a really good tournament. Next, we have women's B singles and a couple of local ladies, Marla Williams and Danielle Finnison. It looks like Danielle got the best of Marla, 6-2, 6-4.
In boys 18 and under doubles, the team of McFall and Satterley, that's a Somerset and a Jamestown. They're cousins, right?
Correct.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah, your stepson and his cousin, Lucas McFall, beat Dethridge and Zhang from Bowling Green. So a little bit of revenge on Zhang there, who Matt lost to in singles. And it looks like they had a good result here, a good tight result. McFall and Satterley win the boys 18 doubles 4-6, 6-love, 10-7 in the super tiebreaker.
Yeah. And for men's B doubles, looks like Noah Polk and John Wright Polk. Noah is from Louisville, and John is from Georgetown. And we had a round-robin tournament because there were 3 entries, and they won both of their matches. So it looks like they take the men's B doubles title.
One of their matches looked pretty easy. The other one looked really close. And those guys, although they're city tags in the tournament draw, say Georgetown and Louisville, they grew up in Somerset. I don't know if you probably don't know them, but they're Somerset boys.
Oh, okay, cool.
Men's C doubles, we have the father-son team of Richard Jackson and Camden Jackson from Tompkinsville, Kentucky, beating our Columbia father-son team of Charles and James Roberts to beat them 6-2, 7-6.
Yeah, that was those guys, they're good friends now. The two families are. And I think they met via the CKTS tournaments. So
probably
when they get together and play in the tournaments, they have a big time, and we're glad to have them. We were glad that they came and participated again this year. So good bunch of guys there. In the men's open doubles, it looks like Dwayne Coulter and Jackson Grover outlasted a tough field, and in the finals, they beat Wesley Fisher and John Silas Newton 6-2, 6-2. So that might have been a case of experience over young talent. It was a good competitive match. I watched that one, but it looks like Dwayne and Jackson came out on top and won that. I don't know how are they doing in the men's open doubles standings? I would imagine they're a pretty tough team and have accumulated quite a bit of points.
They are pretty near the top, if not at the top. Let me just take a quick look. Dwayne Coulter is actually going to win the division alone. He's going to end up with about 14 or 15 points. The standings are not quite ready yet. That might be something to go over next week on the podcast. We hope to have the point standings probably within the next few days or next several days. We'll have that back. So let's go next to something you know a little bit about here, men's 40 and over doubles, because it was one match for the title. We have you and your old friend Zan Rexroth, who lives in Georgetown, Kentucky. He's from Russell County, but he lives in Georgetown, Kentucky. And you two guys got together. You've played tennis together off and on for years, correct?
We have. We go back a long way.
And you teamed up and you beat the Humphreys brothers, as we call them.
We did.
It's actually a father and son, Don and Steve Humphreys. Don lives in Campbellsville. Steve lives in Lebanon. They play doubles together all the time, and you guys beat them 6-love, 6-2.
Well, hey, what a hoot to be able to play those guys. Don keeps it interesting with commentary throughout the match.
He sure does. He sure does.
And we seem to be hitting the ball really well that day. And, we played them in Columbia a couple of weeks prior, and the match was much closer. So I would imagine if we played them again, that I wouldn't be surprised if they beat us.
Third time would be the charm.
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. Those guys are really a lot of fun to play against. All right, women's open doubles. It looks like we had 2 entries in that. We had Susan Hadley and Kaylee Poston from Jamestown, Kentucky, versus Cheryl Hensel and Trina Rickard from Glasgow. And Hadley Poston won 0-6, 7-5, and looks like they took the 10-point tiebreaker. So a good close final in that division as well.
Yeah, whenever those 2 teams play each other, they have some good matches. We'll close it out by looking at mixed open doubles. And so it's a round robin. And so winning 2 matches, winning both your matches in the round robin locks it up. And it is possible, though, for each team to win 1 match. That did not happen this time. If that does happen, it goes on percentage of games won for the champion of that round robin. But we've got a team that won both of their matches, and that's the father-daughter team of Darren Polston and Kaylee Polston from Jamestown. They defeated Chris Atkinson and Emma Calfee, and they also defeated Susan Hadley and Stephen Humphreys. And that's a look at the results from the Alton Blakley Lake Cumberland Open, and that's a look at the final CKTS tournament of the 2018 tournament season. But let's take a look. We don't actually have any point standings yet, as I mentioned, but we'll have those soon, definitely in time for the next podcast. But there's a few things coming up in tennis and other parts of the state. Our friends at the Mountain Tennis Circuit are having their Whitley County Open this weekend, October 6th and 7th. It's probably too late to register by the time you've heard this podcast, but heck, I don't know. Give them a call. Maybe they'll let you play. Who knows? You can get on over to mtctennis.org and you can see about that tournament or any of their other tournament results and schedules of all their activities. And courtesy of USTA Kentucky, volunteers are needed in Lexington to help with the Combo Doubles Championships, which are going to be held October 12th through the 14th. If interested in helping, please contact Nancy Sebring at 859-552-8792. Also, a team of 4.0 men from Louisville are headed to 18 and over nationals. Rusty Meisner is the captain. They're sectional champions. They're going to Arlington, Texas to compete at the national level this weekend, October 5th through the 7th. Good luck to them. There's a couple of there's one junior tournament I have here coming up. Actually, 2, sorry. There's 2 junior tournaments here coming up. There's the Center Court Fall Junior Classic this weekend, October 6th and 7th in Owensboro. Registration deadline for that is past, but if you're in that area, go check out some tennis this weekend. The Louisville Tennis Club is having its October Championships on October 13th and 14th. That deadline is rapidly approaching. It's October the 7th. So to keep up with USTA Kentucky, visit KentuckyTennis.com or on Facebook and Twitter. Their username is USTA Kentucky with the word Kentucky spelled out. If you have any announcements that are tennis related, we'd love to read them on the podcast, so send them to info@GameSetMatchKY.com. Well, Dwayne, I believe that's going to actually serve out another episode of Game Set Match Kentucky. I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to ask you to get on over to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify and subscribe to this podcast so you can get the newest episodes as they are released. If you enjoy the show, head on over to iTunes Store and give us a review. And I'd like to take a second to thank our listeners in various locations, Dwayne. You might assume that since this is called Game Set Match Kentucky, that our listeners are only from Kentucky. But I have access to the statistics on where our podcasts are downloaded from. Are you ready?
Let's hear it.
Okay. We have listeners in Georgia and Okay, to be fair, my brother lives in Georgia, but I don't think I've ever even told him about this podcast. So it's not him. Okay. Looks like we have up to 9 listeners in Georgia. We have listeners in Indiana. Okay, go figure.
Wow.
We have listeners in Tennessee. We've got listeners in Virginia, and way over out west in Nevada. We have listeners in Nevada.
Wow, so Andre Agassi has tuned into this.
That's it. It's Andre Agassi. I forgot he lives in Las Vegas. Yes, it's Andre Agassi. Yeah, definitely. Wow.
That's cool.
Andre, if you are listening, I would love to have you for a guest interview on the show. I would love it. So anyway, we've got some worldwide listeners too, Dwayne.
Yeah.
Not just the United States, not just Kentucky, not just Tennessee, Indiana. We've got Virginia, Georgia, Nevada, and guess where else in the world? We have listeners in United Kingdom.
Tim Hinman, right?
That's probably it's probably it's probably something like that. And we have listeners in Sweden, so maybe Mats Wilander, Stefan Edberg, Bjorn Borg. So we have 3 downloads from Sweden, so it could be those 3 guys. I don't know, or
could be.
Maybe one of them has listened to the first 3 episodes. But anyway, I thought that was cool, and from time to time I'll update that as we get new strange locations. But anyway, if maybe they downloaded it by accident, I don't know. But
no,
thanks to them anyway.
Don't sell yourself short. You never know where you're going to reach. So you're doing a terrific job with this podcast. And
thank you very much.
I don't know many other rural tennis circuits like CKTS that can boast of having a podcast to help promote the series. So
no, Dwayne, you're making me blush and probably going to make me cry. So you better stop. Okay?
All right. Okay.
You're just being too sweet, darn it. Well, anyway, despite how you listen to this podcast, you can visit GameSetMatchKY.com for a listing of all the episodes, all the show notes, etc. And you please follow us on Twitter at GameSetMatchKY and give us a thumbs up like on our Facebook page. The username there is at GameSetMatchKY, or you can search on Facebook for Game Set Match Kentucky, the podcast. If anyone's interested in sponsoring, please send an email to info@GameSetMatchKY. Oh, Dwayne, I'm hearing that. I don't know. Are you hearing that clapping? Here it comes. Looks like Hawkeye says we are out. I knew it. We're out. Yeah, it's always out here at the end. We're always out. But until next time, Dwayne, first of all, let me thank you for joining me, and I hope to have you back on here soon.
No problem.
Thanks for being here. And until next time, I'm Chris Godby, and this is also Dwain Harris, and this has been Game Set Match Kentucky. Wow.
All right.
Okay.
Good deal. That's going to be a long episode.
Yeah. Well, they're all ending up about 30, 35 minutes.
Yeah.
And right now this is 41 minutes, but by the
You have
time
a
I
lot
edit
to
out a
edit
few
out.
things, yeah. Every time I think, oh, this will be quick and easy and I won't have to edit much, every time I say that, there ends up being a ton of editing, so no big deal.
Well, edit freely.
I'm getting better at it. I'm getting faster at it. And, I mean, it'll probably be a couple days before this goes out, but what the heck,
Yeah, but it's fun.